Hey, this is head coach Jordan here from Without Bounds. Another video, another adventure for us to heal, uplift, and empower you. Together, my friends, we are on an adventure. This is a follow-up to my last video, the mystical experience. So if you haven't watched that yet, please go back, watch it. It's in there that we discuss what is the mystical experience and how it leads to a paradigm shift, a shattering of limits, a shattering of the mind and what you know to go beyond, to find something else, to find your spiritual anchors in life. So today, we're going to discuss my key mystical moments, my key mystical experiences that I've had, and the powerful, and I mean the utmost life changing, like directional changing, mission driven revelations that I've been privileged to receive downstream. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So hang tight. Let's get that slideshow going. All right. So let's make myself a little bigger if I can. Alrighty. 1 second. Okay. So mystical episodes and spiritual state management. Oh, this is going to be a good one, guys. Stay tuned. Let's do this. So we'll discuss today two mind-blowing experiences that I've had that have completely changed the game for me. Now I've had quite a few other ones as well, but we want to save some stuff in the back pocket so that you can understand that we got a lot to give here. So we'll also discuss, what does the mystical experience reveal? What does the mystical reveal? Now, I have had completely, again, just life changing. I wrote a whole freaking book about what it is that I experienced. So we're going to talk about what it is I experienced. And of course, I invite you to share with me what you've experienced that has been earth shattering, mind blowing for you as well. And then we'll finish off, we'll tap off by tapping into your state, by beginning to discuss what state management is and how you can begin to tap in, tune in, and turn up the fun. All right, let's dive in, friends. So my mystical experiences, again, I know I've beaten the dead horse here, or we're beating the spiritual horse here, but my experiences have shattered my personal limits. They've shattered what it is that I've known about reality, pulling me into greater levels of awareness and greater levels of devotion. Devotion to my mission, devotion to my fiance and wife to be, devotion to my parents, to my family. It says in the Bible, what is one of the first commandments? It says, honor thy mother and father. And I really feel that in my soul. Maybe you don't. That's okay. But I really would love to know, what are your mystical experiences? What have you experienced that have shattered your limits, that have truly impacted you in ways that really are crazy? Like, if you've had crazy experiences, I want to know what's happened to you and understand how they've impacted you. So please feel free to comment below, share an email, shoot us a line, drop us a line at withoutboundsnow at gmail.com. And if you want guidance, if you just want some coaching around tapping into the mystical, tapping into it, feel free to let us know. Again, just comment below, drop us that email, and we'll be happy to help, and we'll guide you from there. So let us dive in. So we begin first with the Wailing Wall. Come and pray with me, friend. As you can see here in this picture, there are lots of people gathering at the edge of this wall here, and it is there that they are davening, or they are taking their prayer books, and they're rocking back and forth and praying. I actually have one of my prayer books over in the bookshelf, but for now, I want you to sit back, get the popcorn, get yourself a nice drink, pause the video if you need to refresh, and let's buckle in here. So it was in 2015 that I went to Israel. Now, yes, well, we can get all our caveats aside. It's a very touchy subject to bring up these days, um, depending when you're watching this, of course. But that said, I had truly a blessed time when I was in Israel. I went on my birthright trip. So if it isn't already evident to you, I am of Hebrew descent. I am of the ancient Israel line. I am what you call a Jew. And I went to Israel for my birthright trip, which is a 10-day long excursion where you are slowly drip fed propaganda. I mean, slowly drip fed reasons why you should move to Israel and love the country so much. But I truly did fall in love with the history. I truly fell in love with the beauty of the place. And during that 10-day excursion, I had like endless, like one spiritual epiphany, one spiritual experience, one mystical experience after the other. And it was in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, at the Wailing Wall, at this wall, this last piece, this last remnant of the second temple, is what we're told. And at the wall, you find yourself, they kind of split everyone up, the men go on one side, the women on the other, and you're with the men, I was with the men praying and watching them, read from their little books. Again, they do what's called davening, so they just rock back and forth and they pray. And I personally had no connection to that because I just don't understand Hebrew. I wasn't about to read prayers that I didn't understand. So I did the only thing that I knew how to do, which was to sit down cross-legged and start chanting, "Oh." And I just started chanting over and over. And I just kept going. Om, Om. And the sound just resonated with me. Mind you, it's like 30 degrees out. I'm sitting there cold as hell in a winter coat all bundled up, and I'm just oming with all these other people around me. And the next thing I know, kind of similar to this PowerPoint background, this like darkish blue, but also way more purple. Like in the picture, you can see those purples and the golds. Like imagine just the blackness of your vision, your visual field, your third eye, just completely gets overrun and overtaken with this majestic purple and gold light. And at it was almost as if I could perceive the corners of my vision with my eyes closed. And at these four corners were the spirits, were the essences of my grandparents. And it was in that moment, all my grandparents have sadly passed away. So if you have your grandparents, cherish them. Maybe they're pains in your booty, but love them anyway. Cherish them because you might just be in the middle of a desert, with your eyes closed, seeing their spirits. So you never know. And it was then when I was seeing their spirits, when I was seeing their likenesses present to me, I could hear them all at once. It was like they were speaking to me in unison, and I could hear and feel within me this message of welcome home. And we're so grateful that you're here to receive this, grateful that you're here and ready to receive this message, that we are proud of you, that we do love you and we cherish you and we believe in you and we want you to feel this. We want you to feel this overwhelming sensation. And of course, I'm chanting, I just keep going. And unbeknownst to me, until I come to, tears are just streaming down my face. I am just shedding tears and just feeling this just overwhelming, like a burst of fire just coming up, bubbling up from the deepest of the stomach, up into the heart, just swelling into just good feeling. I'm kind of getting a little overwhelmed just remembering it. And it was just this beautiful surge of good feeling and just faith and love and feeling welcomed and at peace. The whole time during the trip, they want you to know, like, this is a home for the Abrahamic religions, the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. This is a home for us. This is a place. I know we're going to put aside what's happening now. At the time in 2015, it felt that. I felt this welcoming, this homecoming, this birthright. And it was as if, sometimes you just need to be in the right place for the message to be received. and I was in the right place. I received that message. I felt inside of me feelings that really set the tone and set the stage for what comes next. So stick with me. Pause if you got to take a break. Let's take some water. And I'm curious. Have you ever been to Israel? Have you ever been to that desert part of the world, the lovely Middle East? Have you been to holy sites? Have you seen things that really blow your mind? Because when I was in Israel, I really could feel, especially Jerusalem, there's blood in the ground. Like you feel the history of that place just emanating, oozing. It is wicked cool. But I digress. Let us continue. So my next experience will truly be one for the books. Truly is one for my books, literally and figuratively. Um, so I I am a psychonaut. I am a traveler, a soul traveler. I am a guide. I am a coach. I am, the spiritual Sherpa here to help you, here to heal, uplift, and empower you. But in my journey to heal, uplift, and empower myself, I have partaken in things like psilocybin mushrooms, in the wonderful, Lucy in the Sky, and my favorite, who we'll call Dimitri, the mighty dimethyl, the mighty DMT. So it was with the mighty DMT, the spirit molecule. I was in my old apartment back in New Jersey. I'm no longer in the armpit of America. Sorry, friends and family. um, I lived in New Jersey, and I was in my apartment at the time, and two friends were with me, and they had brought, said, beneficence to me, and I blasted off for the first time in years up to that point. And boy, was it life shattering. It was the craziest thing that I've ever experienced. So what happened was, all of a sudden I heard this noise. It was like the noise of, like, crickets and crazy insectoid noises just buzzing like cicadas in my head, and it was just this pressurizing, and then boom, I was in, you could see here these clouds. I kind of captured all the images that I could here. So I was in the clouds. My awareness was just in the clouds, just this beautiful, expansive blue sky. And in front of me was, what I recall was, it was a platform floating in the sky with these like red and white pinwheels. Everything had this red and white and gold motif. So like Buddha was sitting there in the middle. And I could swear he was a fat Buddha, but it's very possible that he was more like the Buddha that you see here, but with this red skin and, again, these bluish braided hair. Um, and he was sitting there in this platform, floating in the sky with these crazy, awesome white and red pinwheels just spinning and spinning. And there it was, this being chiming into me. So what did the Buddha tell me? What the Buddha chimed into me, again, this welcome home, welcome back to the place, welcome to the place of higher spiritual being, of spiritual refinement, of, kind of letting go of this meat sack that might be a little too unclean for the holy of holies, but we'll put that aside. And it was in this space that the Buddha said to me, welcome, child, again, welcome home. It's You are doing so great. Feel the bounty of your goodness. Feel the love and the goodness that you have created, are creating, and are creating for others. Feel this goodness. We feed on this goodness. We feed on everything you send us. And oh, do we love what you send us? Oh, do we love what you send us? So it was in the mid of this revelation that I could feel my body showing me just how high it could go, showing me just how good it can feel, how, each of these areas, from the lowest, sometimes you get them butterflies in your stomach, sometimes you get that anxiety here, sometimes you feel like your heart crunching and your throat getting tight. But no, this was the complete opposite. It was just a flare of good feeling flooding through me. And it showed me not only how high I could go, but that experience brought me into clear connection to see how my thoughts were intimately connected to what I feel, and that there was something beyond me directly interfacing with me. And not only was it directly interfacing with me, but it was like this continuous, what do you see here? A continuous loop. So it's like if I'm over here, what's being sent to this over here is my emotional states, my thoughts. Um, and that I could, in effect, have a better life sent back to me, better feeling, better states, better conditions to my life sent back to me by virtue of better feelings and better thoughts that I sent it. And yes, I know some people might be like, "Oh man, a demon told you, a demon told you that I feed off your emotions and keep sending me the good ones." The angels connected to me, Buddha connected with me and let me know what it is that I'm feeding the higher self, feeding the other side, things that are beyond our perceptions, at least in our, visual field of color. And it was in that, in this revelation, that I truly came to the heart of my discovery, the heart of what I've spent the last 7 years doing and creating and writing. And we'll start here with a discussion of getting to a better state. So, again, we come to the heart of my discovery, which is directly connected to what's called state management theory. What? State management theory, which ties together levels of energy or levels of energetic expression on the one hand, your body posture on the other, and last, what's called mental syntax. And that's all to enhance your resilience, your poise, um, and bias you towards action and feeling good for its own sake. Why not? So again, the practice revolves around the levels of energy that you bring to a moment. So think of, harken back to chemistry. Do you remember what was called activation energy? It was sometimes when you had things in a solution or you're trying to make chemicals react, sometimes when they're in solution together, they're inert. They don't do anything. So you have to add an outside source like fire, heat, electricity, current, whatever it is. Um, and in this case, it's activating enthusiasm. I know you're like, this guy, why is he so smiley and happy all the time? It's because I've practiced it so damn much. So by activating energy, you can thereby change your state by also orienting or reorienting your body's posture, how you're physically oriented. If I was sitting like this the whole time and like this, you'd be like, what's wrong with that guy? But no, I'm relaxed. My shoulders are nice and back and down, and we're just chilling here. We're having a great time. And then last was mental syntax, which for the uninitiate, it is the movement of your eyes or the posture, the focus of your eyes. So you might notice that, and we're not going to go too deep here, but just that when you're thinking, when you're storytelling, when you're trying to remember facts, your eyes might move off in one direction. Your eyes might move into another action. They might dart left or right. They might focus inward, kind of like a zooming in, or they might veer off into the distance. The wandering eyes, the wandering mind. Beware. So what you see on this slide here is at the beginning or at the middle is your state. And your state navigates along this axis or this pole or this continuum. So you can begin to operate and manage your state along a pole or along this continuum of tolerance on the one hand, on the one side, and standards on the other. So as you can see here, where your tolerance is high, your standards are low. And where your standards are high, your tolerance, vice versa, is low. So remember, this is more for you and your own state, or more for me and my own state. So looking at others, judging what they're tolerant of, judging their state and their energy levels and their posture and their mental index, it's really not for you to involve yourself. Unless someone asks you specifically for feedback, look only at your own paper, okay? Look at your own paper. Don't worry about others and their states. That's for them to manage. So as you can see here, at the very edge where we have the highest levels of tolerance, you'll see that you are tolerating to the max degree any and all thoughts, actions, speech, self-knowing, and self-talk. So what does that look like? It means that you don't really monitor or actively care or consciously attend to what's going on in here. Oh, what's flowing on in here? What's going on in here? And you don't really care to, or you're not really attending to what it is you're tolerating in the external, the things people say to you, the people you hang out with, and so on, the things you do, the activities that you put yourself into. As you move towards increasing tolerance, you are moving in the direction of allowing lower vibrations and lower energy to impact you and affect you. Now, it doesn't mean that if your standards are the highest, that you're impervious or never going to interact with something that's negative or energetically low. That is an inevitability of the thing we call life. That said, when you are increasing your standards, meaning lowering your tolerance, you are moving in the direction of monitoring your thoughts, monitoring your actions, monitoring your speech, your knowing what it is you know, what it is you imbibe daily for the brainsicle, and your own self-talk. The higher your standards or the highest standards that you can achieve, it's that moment when you're increasing your resilience. You're only attending to that which increases your resilience, your morality, your conduct, and your well-being. The higher your standards, the lower your tolerance for that which is going to shake you, for that which is going to pull you out of your state, for that which is going to depress you and let you down, and give you room to really betray yourself. And that's not what we're doing here. By having this outlook, by developing an understanding and a connection to your own state, you are making a devotion to yourself. You are dedicating to yourself time, energy, and attention to be more resilient, to develop yourself and develop mastery and develop, a moral compass, and to refine your conduct and to feel better for its own sake. Because feeling the opposite more often just sometimes isn't, it's just not the best choice. And if we're going to have one choice, our only choice is to feel good for its own sake, it is to increase our standards and to lower our tolerance. So this brings me to our next slide. Let's talk live feedback. Live feedback. What is live feedback, Jordan? Well, in short, in sum, in a parenthetical statement, in the short of it all, live feedback is my brainchild of the last 7 or so years. It is, in short, a spiritual cognitive behavioral therapy. It is a spiritual state management system. So we just, discussed what is state management. We discussed lowering tolerance, hiring our standards, etc. But live feedback is about finding the sacred in that, spiritualizing all of that. It's about creating and providing you maps for self-discovery and decoding, a compass to guide you towards a spiritualized life, and a mirror. A mirror. Not really a mirror. Hold on. And a mirror to show you who you are, what you're becoming, and what you're connected to. Now, that last bit I call my being or your being. So, whenever I drop the word being, like as a noun, your being, what I mean specifically is who you are, what you're becoming, and that bigger thing you're connected to. So, as the body's inner guidance system, live feedback is coaching you, is guiding you to tune into your body's feelings. What is it? Something alarms you, and all of a sudden you've got this little thing flaring off, and oh man, I feel really powerless or very doubtful of myself, or I'm doubting others. Oh man, I'm feeling this upper ab pain, or oh man, I'm really having a lot of anxiety. I'm just feeling fear, and I just feel this pang in my heart. Or oh man, like my mind is racing. I'm getting angry. My throat is tightening. My teeth are clenching, and my head is getting this cloudy, tight feeling. By tracing what thoughts and experiences are produced by thoughts and feelings, um, you can learn how to change your state. You can learn how to interact with what it is that's going on. So, what it says there is trace what thoughts and experiences produce feelings or changes in your state. So, by recognizing that you've got this feeling, and all of a sudden your state has changed, you're in the state of doubt and worry. All of a sudden you feel this, and you're feeling more fearful and anxious, and you're having these spiraling thought loops. Live feedback aims to help you reframe the thoughts that precede or follow any given unwanted feeling or state. Thereby, it becomes the gateway to your mystical life. It becomes this tool, this system by which you can work with your energy centers, the chakras, work with your energy centers, and the signature of the divine that we talked about in our last video. By learning how to work with this energetic pattern, by the flow of energy in your body, you can become a master of energy movement. You can learn to discern the signature of the divine in you, see the good and holiness in you, and see the good and holiness in others in the world around you. And at its core, what we're working to do is to develop your intuition and develop that spiritual habit by listening to your body's messages. What is a spiritual habit, Jordan? What is a spiritual habit? Well, journey with me and you will find out. So, to get started with all of this, there are three concepts that I want you to keep front of mind, in addition to live feedback, in addition to your being, and in addition to the mystical experience and what it's doing and how we can tap in, tune in, and turn it up. So to get started, you want to think about, what does it mean to be conscious? What is consciousness? Well, we don't have to get into a materialist, spiritualist conversation about reality and etc. right now, but being conscious itself simply is just your level of awareness at any given moment. What are you conscious of? What are you aware of? And where attention goes, energy flows. Being conscious, whatever you are conscious of, if it's something that you're reflecting on or something that you're projecting outward, if your attention is focused there, that's where you get wrapped up in energetically. And what my question here is, what does it mean to be conscious and grow in consciousness? So to be conscious in my mind is, again, it's what is it that you're attending to at any given moment. you know, it's like when I light my little candle in the morning during my meditations, I make a prayer, I make a devotion that every time I walk by that candle, I'm going to flip the switch, turn on the gratitude in my life, find something to be grateful for. And it's in that moment that you might be walking past the candle, you're on your phone, maybe you're on the phone with someone, or you're just texting or looking for that next YouTube video. And you might just walk past the candle and completely miss the moment. But because I've entrained myself to be conscious, to be aware of the candle every time I pass it, whether that thing is lit or not, there is a flood of gratitude that pours out for me. Thank you for this day. Usually I'm walking to the bathroom when I pass that candle. So it's thank you for producing the waste in my body and making sure that I work. Oh, great Father. Oh, great Mother. Oh, great Lord and Lady of life. So, what does it mean to grow in consciousness? Well, to grow in consciousness, it means to expand that awareness. It means to flex that awareness. Roar, roar. To flex that awareness, the bicep of the brain. We want to make our awareness and our consciousness stronger by attending to what matters most to us, to you in your life. For me, that spiritual habit means showing up with gratitude. It means flexing and activating gratitude. Again, that activation energy. You might be saying, Jordan, I don't feel good. I'm not in a good state. Yeah, I've been there before. And what did I do? I freaking got into the gym of the spirit and I started lifting that weight of gratitude. And I'm like, all right, how many reps of gratitude do I got to do today? 15. I got to be grateful for 15 things 20 times, 3 sets of 20, whatever it is. Just lift the weight. Find that inspiration in you. Just say, I'm going to do it for the sake of doing it because I want to feel good for its own sake. Next, we come to presence. So, presence is simply put your ability to remain focused on the here and the nizao. Which is funny because if you look at the words now here, it spells nowhere. And oh man, where are we in this world? Huh. Anyway, it is your ability to remain focused here and now, be it actively or passively recognizing your divergent attention. It's that part of you, that redundancy inside of you that goes, oh wait, we're lost in thought, or oh wait, we're totally not listening, we're totally not paying attention. Let us bring our focus into this laser here. So sometimes our spirit is just all over the place, just willy-nilly. We just want to, like a laser. Presence is that laser of attention to what it is you hear, what it is you feel, but it also can be actively listening to people and the environment around you. So I encourage, if you need, pause this video or at the end, find about 5 minutes to just sit. Just sit. Feel your sit bones against the chair, feel your back against the chair, whatever it is. Find a moment to just be. Just be. Listen to the sounds, whether you hear nothing, it's just the hum of a computer or the hum of life going on around you. Maybe someone's taking out the trash, a neighbor, maybe someone's playing music, maybe a car's driving by in your neighborhood. Just listen. No judgment, no need to harp on any one of the details, the arisings that are coming forth. Just be. And the last point here is about the higher self. Now, this term gets thrown around in the spiritual community a lot. And at the end of the day, it doesn't, you know, behoove you to have a concrete definition of what it is. It doesn't mean that I've got the answer, so to speak. But what I've done is I've created an idea of what the higher self is. So let me share with you that idea. So remember, your being is who you are, what you're becoming, and that bigger part to which you're connected, the bigger part of you. Now, that bigger part of you to which you're connected at all times is your higher self. Some call it God, some call it goddess, some call it the divine, some call it the sacred one, the one thing. You know, we like to say, me and my man Twilight Witness, that Udin is the ring and Udin is everything, but that that's besides the point. The idea is that if all is one, as a spiritual initiate, the first thing is to recognize all is one. And if you recognize that in your heart of hearts, then you know that there is this bigger part of you. Now, it could be the reality you see, or it could be potentially a higher hive consciousness to which you're a part. It could be that we're, constellated in this beautiful reality that unfolds, and that there is a higher vibrational space that we're just not able to see on any given moment because it could be overwhelming, and you just wouldn't live a good life if you were constantly seeing other things that weren't there, or that maybe are there. Who knows? But potentially, again, it could be, if you've ever encountered Abraham from, Esther Hicks and Law of Attraction. Abraham always says, I am a multidimensional higher conscious being. And it's like, okay, it seems like there are many consciousnesses that are kind of calling themselves Abraham. So it could be, maybe I'm a part of Abraham. Maybe you're a part of Abraham. But anyway, it could be that there's a higher consciousness to which you're connected, and that you have this reciprocal relationship, as above, so below. You feed it with your goodness and your good feelings, it feeds you with a life and a becoming. Next, we have your higher self is the higher or the highest structure you can achieve or attain while living. It's an ideal, so to speak. This superordinate principle of your highest ideal, highest archetypal expression, so to speak. And last, it could be potentially a higher dimensional structure, a crystal, so to speak. Harkening back to the highest structure you can attain while living. It in itself exists, your higher self, as this crystal, as a higher geometrical structure. of which you are currently either just a fragment or seeing only a fragment of yourself in the crystal, or just an unintegrated version of yourself, like an acorn becoming an oak tree, like learning how to feed your way into the beautiful tree that you are. And it could be that that higher structure is the tree, that higher structure is this beautiful crystal. But something that I harken back to in my time, learning about exercise science and kinesiology, that was my bag back in the day during my massage years. That structure is function. How something is structured is directly related to its function. And that if you want something to function well, you structure it well. And thereby, the divine is constantly showing us, hey, are you moving in the direction of your so called higher structure? Or are you not moving in the direction of your so called higher structure? So, that higher self is that part of you, that bigger, that higher dimensional crystal, that higher dimensional structure that is beckoning you forth to archetypally express it, to be its expression in this physical reality. Cool, right? So, in sum, mystical experiences are guideposts to show you the way to your heightened state. And from there, you can begin to chart if you move toward such higher states, towards that higher self, or act discordantly. Thereby, live feedback is the system that I've developed, the system that I garnered from my mystical experiences to understand that I can begin to learn how to manage my state, to begin to understand that I can transform myself and my life. So, live feedback is our method at Without Bounds for setting a higher spiritual standard in your life. So, my friend, thank you so much for joining me today. I know this was a long one. I know we had a lot of ground to cover. Go ahead, leave your comments, like this video, share it with your friends, share it with anyone who's on a spiritual journey and needs that extra boost to understand what it is that they're working with, um, how it is that they can go about working towards and moving towards their higher self, actualizing that archetypal beauty in your life, in their lives. So, again, thank you so much. My name is Head Coach Jordan here from Without Bounds, where we always are seeking to heal, uplift, and empower you, my friend. Thank you for being here on this journey. We call it Hue for short, and I look forward to helping you add color to your life. Ciao.